Greetings, welcome to the world's most popular audio automotive podcast. That is Gareth Jones on Speed with... Go on, introduce yourselves.
I'm Zog.
I'm Richard Porter.
And you know who I am. Zog, I'm sorry you weren't with us at Le Mans. We did have a good time in your absence.
I was sorry not to be there.
You watched it on TV?
Yeah, I saw the whole race on TV, and the only thing worse than watching the whole of the Le Mans 24-hour race when your mates are actually at the race would be not watching the race on TV when your mates are at the race. It was a fantastic race. I just wish I could have been there with you guys. And
it wasn't,
but I know you had a good time.
It wasn't the one to miss, really, for a great number of reasons. The racing was great, and the hospitality was good, wasn't it, Richard?
Yes, as you could hear during the second podcast later on. When I realised, when I listened to it back, there's a point when we were very late/early in the morning.
It's about 4:30 in the morning.
4:30 in the morning, and a car went past while we were recording. And I realised on listening to it back that I went meow after it like a 5-year-old.
But this is the thing, I've listened to the shows after you'd put them together. I thought, you captured the atmosphere of the race, the feel of the event really well. And that is what makes Le Mans so special. It's a great competitive event, but more than anything, there's just something very special about Le Mans and the atmosphere that it has that it is quite unique.
I've said that on the show, I think. It's not like other motor racing, is it? It's a different experience completely.
Yeah, it's like motor racing, but better.
Yeah.
Next year we're going to do a sort of scratch and sniff podcast, though, just to get that full Le Mans ambience. When I got home, bearing in mind that I slept in my clothes, including my shoes, and I was trying to work out how many hours I'd been in the same shoes. I basically had to burn my shoes when I got home. It was disgusting. No wonder this rather snippy girl who sat next to me on the Eurostar on the way home was quite snippy, because I imagine that I stank. And she was looking a bit snotty at me, and I just thought I smelled like a Frenchman's underpants.
It's part of the Le Mans experience.
Yeah.
Actually, I was wearing a Frenchman's underpants. The only clean ones I could find.
One of the great things about the race, apart from the fact that there was a fantastic battle between Peugeot and Audi, which I think had been greatly anticipated. Basically, my guys won all the categories, apart from GT2, and I was absolutely rooting for Alain McNish in that Audi, and he and Tom Christensen and Dinder Capella did a magnificent job. They said they had to run a perfect race to win it, and that's what they did. In LMP2, I wanted the Porsche RS Spiders to come through, and Jos Verstappen did the business.
Yes.
And
fantastic.
Gulf liveried Aston Martin.
Oh, and they looked good dirty, didn't they?
Yes.
When they were filthy, those cars looked gorgeous. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's
Did you get to see them, by the way, when you went down? Because I had to Scarpa to get to miss the Eurostar and get on another one with it next to a snippy girl. And obviously, you stayed around, went down to the pits and start-finish straight. Did you get to see the cars close up?
I didn't see the cars, but I did get to shake hands with David Brabham. Does that count?
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't tell me that.
Yeah. If you download Show 60A, which is the image-enhanced version, there's a picture of David Brabham, and immediately I took the picture, I went over and said, "Well done, David. By the way, I beat you in the kart race."
I didn't notice that. That completely passed me by.
Yeah, it was...
Okay.
Yeah.
The thing about Aston Martins, though, is that there isn't a single colour scheme that they look bad in.
We've said this before, haven't we? Yeah.
They doesn't matter how you paint them, they just look fantastic.
Well, even if they were in like an Arrows paint scheme or something, they look good in that, wouldn't they?
There's a bit of a challenge for next year. Come on, Aston Martin, really show that these cars look great in any colour. I'm thinking British Leyland russet brown.
There's probably an old Austin Princess colour or something that they could reproduce that wouldn't look so great. But
Zog, I just want to verify something you said about it's. Not only do the Aston Martins look great in any colour, but if you paint anything in the Gulf colours, it looks fantastic. I know your mobile used to be modified in the Gulf colours. He did it himself.
I did a customised... This is a little bit sad. I'm slightly embarrassed to admit this, but I actually went to the trouble of going and getting some kind of the Gulf decals online to customise this. What was it? It's some Nokia mobile phone. I customised it with the Gulf colours, and for about 2 months, until the corners had all chipped off and it was looking pretty shabby, it looked fantastic.
But even when it looked shabby, it looked like it had just done 24 hours. It was great. But
Did you find that all your phone calls happened faster? But
I did keep answering. Every time I answered them, I just had to go meow.
But just to back up that thought, what you said there, Zog, if you look at Podcast 60A, the image enhanced version, there is a picture of one of the golf carts that the Aston Martin team in the Gulf colours.
Well, you weren't with me at the time, but I almost got run over by an Aston Martin golf cart, but not the golf coloured one, just a regular one. driven by HH Frentzen.
No, yes, no, I was with you. That was on the way to the Audi
Almost
garage.
got mowed over.
This would have been the
night.
slowest accident that he's ever had.
Yeah.
Hello, this is Alan McNish, the wee Jimmy Cranky of Le Mans. You're listening to Gareth Jones on Speed.
F1 is pretty exciting again at the moment. We've got, was it the 4th driver to lead the championship at the moment? Is that right this year?
Yeah.
We've had Kubica leading it, we've had Raikkonen leading it, we've had Massa leading it, and we've had Hamilton leading it. Is Hamilton likely to lead it again? No, that's the question.
No, let's hope so. I mean, I'm certainly not writing him off, and I'm certainly hoping that he's going to be back up there.
He had a bit of a torrid time in France, didn't he?
Yeah, miserable time.
He deserved the 10-place grid penalty for the pit lane mistake. That's fair enough.
It feels like we're recording outside again. I can hear a plane. Can you hear a plane?
Yeah,
it's a convertible house, isn't it? You've got one of those CC houses with the metal roof and it all folds inside itself again. I knew it.
Yeah, we're actually recording in a mobile home. But I thought the penalty for what happened at the previous race was fair enough. But I thought that was pretty harsh for the move on
Vettel.
Yes, Vettel, Sebastian Vettel. He'd cleared him by enough.
He was through.
Yeah, he was through. He'd made the pass.
He didn't gain position from
Absolutely.
cutting the corner.
I had a conversation about this with a mate of mine who's an ex-race director, and his view on the whole thing was that Hamilton, although he'd completed the move, had completed the move with a view to using a part of the circuit which wasn't actually part of the circuit.
What, he could only make the move stick if he then knew he'd got a little sort of escape route?
If it had been at Monaco or at Canada, he'd hit the wall.
Okay.
And so consequently he's outside the circuit, so technically he deserved the penalty, and he thought it was very fair race directing. I'm always the first to defend Hamilton because I think he's a great entertainer, but I have to admit he was trying a bit hard, he was a bit urgent.
He was trying hard, but that's one of the things we like about him.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's
he
true.
was a bit Raggedy Andy through the whole weekend, wasn't he? Just also, particularly in the race, just getting a bit sort of messy with the sheer effort of trying. It wasn't kind of the seamless class act that we saw last year. But that's fine. We're seeing a different side to him now. Now we've got to see the side to him that can claw it all back again. And I think that's where it gets really interesting. The
season is really keeping up this level of drama where, we've still got 4 drivers, any of whom can take the championship.
Yeah.
You'd have to say Kubica's really not much as we admire him, and as much as he put in a stunning performance to win a couple of races ago, he's very unlikely to be able to take it. But it's possible.
You just don't know, do you? That's
the
thing.
Know.
In order of the people that I would like to win the championship, see if you agree with this one.
Yeah.
Okay,
Lewis.
Yes.
Yeah. Kubica.
Yes.
Kimi.
No.
No, not Kimi. You don't like Kimi?
I like Kimi. I think Kimi's great. In fact, I love Kimi, but I always like it when other people win. So
not Sebastian Bourdais.
Ralph Schumacher.
He's not in it, but that's always worth a punt. Yes.
That'd be hilarious if he came back. No, it wouldn't
be
be irritating. What am I saying? Actually, no. Come we think of it, Massa. I don't know. I'm kind of ish on Massa. I like his funny little cartoon face when he wins. But go on, give Kimi. So all right. So it goes in my book. It goes Hamilton, Kubica, Raikkonen, Massa.
Yeah, Kovaleinen's not going to do it, but I would love it if Kovaleinen did well. I really would. I think he's tremendous. I think he's just settling in. He's getting there. I don't think he's quite as good as Lewis, but I think he's not far off. I think he's capable of achieving wonderful things. He just hasn't quite gelled yet within the McLaren team.
Yeah, I think he's looking increasingly impressive as a driver, but what I find amazing about him is how kind of puppy-like he still is. He just, every time he's interviewed or he gets on camera, he's always smiling
Louise
and he's just beaming and sort of he's just always delighted to be doing it.
It's true. He has got that.
Am I the only one to have noticed that Heikki Kovalainen is a dead ringer for Beavis out of Beavis and Butthead? Yeah. Look at him when you see him. It's those eyes.
Yeah, and a blonde hair. Yeah, he said pass.
Mass. That's ass.
The trouble with the Formula One season at the moment is, we've had 4 guys leading the championship. The question is, will there be any drivers in the championship in a few weeks' time? Because all this hoo-ha over the super licence hike, the drivers are going to go on strike, aren't they?
Right, brothers. Call to order this meeting of the Monaco chapter of the Honourable Union of Drivers. Item 1, the increase in the price of the super licence. Brother Barrichello.
This increase is terrible. Because of the price rise, I've been forced to order a slightly smaller yacht.
Point well made, comrade. Brother Coulthard. I agree with my countryman there. This increase is terrible news for F1 drivers. My income will be so damaged that I'm worried I might only attract like 7 or 8 supermodels a night. We hear you, my friend. Brother Button.
Yeah, definitely. Things would get so tight for me, I might have to sell some of the trophies I've won during the last 2 seasons.
Please, Brother Button, this is not the time to get carried away in cloud cuckoo land. Comrades, I think the message we have to send is clear. Until we are assured that this increase will not occur, we're going nowhere. In fact, we're stopping right now. I said we were stopping. Jesus, Brother Hamilton, not again.
We've got to show some speed!
One last thing I want to say on the subject of the British Grand Prix is that we're going, Zog. You know this, don't you?
Yeah, and very much looking forward to it. We're going to be there on the Friday and the Saturday, I think.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
And, go on, tell them how we're getting there.
I think we're going to be getting there in a British sports car.
Well, I think it's the appropriate thing to do. If you're going to the British Grand Prix, you should go in a British sports car. So we called up Lotus and said, hello, I haven't spoken to you for 14 years. Can we have a car? And they said, yeah, all right.
We like Lotus.
And so we've got a nice little Elise to go to the British Grand Prix.
Which Elise have you got?
The SE, I think, which is a special edition version, but I don't know which
I'm
version.
losing track of this. They do a special edition every other day.
I know.
Do you know which engine it's got in it? Is it based on the Elise S or the Elise R or the Elise D or the Elise L?
It's the day Jim Clark combed his hair special edition, I think.
Ah, that's right. Because I remember the last Elise I drove, I think, was the Elio De Angelis has just had a Wii special edition in 1983 or something. I don't know. I wish they'd just knock it off. Just make. But if it's the Elise S, because you know there's 2 sort of basic Elises as well as a myriad of special editions. They never make any normal Elises because they're too busy doing bloody special editions. But there's a normal Elise which has the non-variable valve timing and lift super duper cam change engine, and then there's the one, I think it's the R, that's got the cam change engine. It may sound strange to say it, but I think the slower, less powerful model is the sweeter car.
It's balanced better with the chassis.
Just because
in the more powerful one, you go chasing the cam change zone all the time, and it lasts for what feels like 100 RPM at about 7,800. So you're like, okay, here we go, cam change. Oh God, change gear. That's it. Yeah. The other one, there's none of that. It's just got a smooth linear power delivery. It's a ruddy, lovely little car.
Much more drivable.
It's so nice. It's definitely my top 10 cars. And every so often I look on the internet to see, if there's any second-hand ones knocking around for say, $5,000. Of course there aren't. But even it got to the point where at the end of last year, I was sort of stupid in these times with credit crunch and all that. But I was sort of thinking, well, I could borrow some money and buy one of those. I love that car so much.
They're
both lovely, but the S I think is just super duper duper. Although, of course, if you can ever get into the Nigel Mansell JPS moustache special edition, try that as well. Apparently, it's got seats made of real face hair.
The other thing about the Elise, though, is that it's no longer a new shape, but it still looks fantastic.
Pretty little car. But also, it has just got nicer and nicer as well. You can tell it's a car that's been around for a while, and it's just been refined, and all that know-how they've got there at Lotus anyway, just bunged into it. It's fabulous. You're going to have a great time. I'm quite jealous.
Oh, yeah. I got the feeling that you, Gareth, were quite excited by PK's times in testing. Am I right?
Yes, I was. I think PK's a great driver under certain circumstances.
Yeah, well, see, I'm still not quite convinced. I mean, I think he's still
just
to me really got to demonstrate it. I mean, maybe he's kind of coming good now in the same way that Kovaleinen eventually was able to deliver at Renault, which he wasn't for quite a while at the start.
I think he's one of those drivers who's a bit fragile. he is capable of great things. I've seen him do it in A1 Grand Prix. I know the field in A1 Grand Prix is not the world's greatest drivers, but there are some great drivers there.
And he was great in A1 GP.
And he was really great in A1 GP occasionally, but he had lots of love in A1 GP. The whole Brazilian team were right behind him. He had Emerson Fittipaldi there and his dad, these are good people. He had the Dams team running the car. And I think he's just a bit under pressure because he's alongside Alonso, and that's a really tough thing to do for lots of reasons, to share a team with Alonso. And I just think, given a chance, he will do it. That's all I'm saying. But if you're going to the British Grand Prix, we'll see you there. Come and say hello to us. We'll be in the paddock club, I think, loading it up. But, we'll wave to you, darlings. Right. So, and the other big British event that we're going to...
Is it official that this programme has sold out?
Yeah?
Yeah,
back in the day, I remember, in fact, this is talking about Nelson Piquet Jr., the first time I ever actually met you properly, Gareth, was at the first A1 GP race.
Yeah,
and
2004.
And Piquet did that amazing move round
the outside.
And that was the first time I sort of thought, God, that boy can drive. Good. Yeah. But I do also remember you were working there.
Yeah.
I just got free tickets, I think. I managed to blag some free tickets. But... we went for a cup of char in the bog standard. There was like a porter cabin or something. We didn't even go to the Kentagon. We just went, now, we won't get out of bed unless there's a bloody helicopter and 4 gallons of champagne being poured over some supermodels.
Sell out, baby. We just been waiting for the right
And the
price.
worst thing is, we love it.
We do. I just want to say, I consider myself to be an everyman. When it's necessary for me to be, in a sleeping bag on the start-finish straight at 4 o'clock in the morning to watch the race, I'll be there. But if someone says, have a Lotus, have a helicopter, come to the race, I will go as well. I don't think any self-respecting motorsport fan would turn down that opportunity.
If only man who wouldn't, they're a bloody idiot. However, I think you should crash the Lotus just to teach him a lesson.
Okay.
I shouldn't say that, touch wood.
Don't say that.
Oh, sorry, I'm going to touch the wood over here.
Seriously?
Okay, we're safe.
That's Formica, Richard. That's Formica.
That's bad karma. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that.
So if you go to the British Grand Prix, we'll see you there. And the other big British event that we'll be at is the British Motor Show, which is at Excel again this year, which we went to a couple of years ago, Zog. We reported on this show.
2 years ago.
It's hot, wasn't it?
It was good.
I didn't go because I can't get Excel to work on my computer. So.
Oh, stop!
No, I really. Sorry, that was just a. I really didn't go.
It's
I
good.
remember you said it was quite good. So.
Yeah, Excel's good. It's to be honest, it's quicker to drive to Birmingham than it is to drive to Excel.
True.
Even from here in North East London, I kid you not, it's a rubbish drive. So maybe we'll do bikes or public transport or helicopter. I don't know, something.
Can't we do a riverboat or something? I quite fancy a river taxi, something like that.
Jet ski.
Do Lotus make speedboats? No. But
Ferrari do. They put engines in.
I think going to the XL on a boat is probably the way forward.
You're right.
It's just a shame that here in North London we're about 4 miles from the river. But
we're not actually. The canal is about a mile away.
Yeah. Oh, okay, plan.
Doesn't the London River go through here as well? You know that big artificial river?
Yes, the Lee Valley North London Water Reservoir. In fact, on Petherton Road, which is less than a quarter of a mile away,
my
it's
friend
actually,
Alex lives on Petherton Road.
Does he?
Yeah.
It's underground. There's a whole.
I know.
This is the thing, isn't it?
If you've just tuned into Gareth Jones on Speed, we're talking about underground rivers. What's gone wrong? Come on!
Yeah, how much further from cars on roads can we get?
Anyway, so the London Motor Show. Yes.
Thank you, Richard. I'm glad you're paying attention.
I don't.
Are you going to go?
I don't know whether I can. Well, I could go at a weekend. But I've got lots of stuff on, and
that's no excuse because there's some good cars, and there's some interesting cars there. Come on, tell us what's there.
What's going to be there? The new Vauxhall Insignia replacement for the Vectra looks nice.
Yeah.
Ford Focus RS. First time people are going to see that. Very exciting.
Lotus have got an interesting one there.
The Lotus Eagle is going to be there. I don't think it's going to be called the Eagle, or indeed make that noise, which was basically a seagull. I think
or a pterodactyl.
Eagle's just a code name, I think.
It is.
They're going to have another.
It's
But Lotus do have.
With E,
yes, they have a tradition of things starting with E. So
the XL.
Wouldn't that be brilliantly retro-tastic?
Yeah.
I don't think. I don't know. It might happen.
Eclat with an E on the end. The Eclate.
Do you know the Lotus Esprit? Giugiaro, when he designed it, and then he said to Lotus, "You know what you should call this car?" And they went, "Okay, great." The maestro's come up with a name, and he went, "You should call it the Kiwi." And they went,
"What?" God.
Yeah, all right, we'll think of this, thanks, mate. And they go...
Yeah. Stick to designing cars.
His name was started with an E.
Yeah,
Italian wazzock.
Yeah, mate, look, you can design cars, you can design pasta, but honestly, who's going to buy a car called a Mega Gamma? I mean, really? Or the Ace of Clubs? I mean, come on, mate, really?
Sounds like someone who's always trying to kill the Transformers, the Mega Gamma!
Sells £100.
So, anyway, yeah, stuff at the show. Why am I the one who's always bringing this back on track? That's not my job.
It's great. I'm having the night off, mate. Listen, can I say one thing about the new Insignia?
Yes.
Avensis.
Do you think so?
I saw an Avensis the other day and I went, oh, it's an Insignia. Oh, no, it's an Avensis. And then I thought, oh, actually, the Insignia's got a bit of overtures of the Avensis about it in some ways, in that it's potentially dull.
Well, how can you say that? It's got a slash down the doors that then sort of goes from a horizontal line to a vertical line. I mean, for goodness sake.
Yeah, but it hasn't got a bodywork made out of cloth, has it, for heaven's sake?
Yeah. Oh, I like that. That's really good, that car.
Have you read... we've gone off
BMW?
Yeah, this is Gina, which is the BMW prototype from 2001. They kept that quiet, didn't they? And I've been reading into it. It's not really cloth. Well, it is cloth, but not in the sense...
canvas, isn't it? Sort of thick canvas kind of stuff?
It's piano wire. It's super fine piano wire. The cross threads,
It's like metal cloth.
Bit like the kilt I'm wearing at the moment. Actually,
I'm glossing over that, but every time you sit down, there's this terrifying thought that I might see your testes.
I am wearing a kilt.
Can I say something about the Toyota Avensis, by the way?
Go on, the Toyota
Oh my God,
Avensis.
we do not want to.
No, we do. We need a picture of the kilt.
Toyota Avensis. I got a Toyota Avensis minicab over here, old shape one.
Yeah.
Right, and I know it's pathetic, but I've got into this terrible routine because I've got my VXR8 and I'm really, really in love with it. And every time I drive past shiny shop windows and things, I always have a little sideways glance. Oh, look at my car. Oh, I like it.
We all do that when we got a nice car.
We've all been there.
I'm sitting in the back of this old shape Avensis minicab this evening coming over here, and we were by a really shiny, like almost mirror polished shop window, and I looked across, just sort of instinctively, I was caught in the corner of my eye of the car, so I looked. And I suddenly realised the old shape Avensis, very boring car, but quite good proportions.
A nice tail end, actually. It comes to
really
an end
neat.
nicely.
The saloon.
I was going to say the saloon, not the hatch.
Oh, the hatch is terrible, but the saloon, really neat proportions.
Yeah, they did well.
Actually, quick on the rear end and reflection theme, but off on a bit of a tangent. Parking tip. It's quite a handy way of getting yourself into a tight spot. If you're on a street where you've got a shop window and you can see the reflection of the back of your car, you just look at the reflection of the back of your car as you're parking and you can get it inch perfect.
Don't try that if you're parking in front of a shop window where they're selling minis and you're driving a look show barge. You'll think your car's a foot shorter. You think that's the reflection. No, that's the mic crunch. Anyway, the British... Motor show. I want to say the British Grand Prix, the British Motor Show. You know that they're doing gigs every night at the British Motor Show?
Oh, yeah, I read this.
I want to tell you this. I've got a list of some of the gigs here. Right, prepare to laugh. Here we go. Every night they've got a gig, and if I can find the list, hang on. The first night is UB40.
Oh, good God.
You couldn't pay me enough to sit through that.
Alice.
Do you want to smash a broken bottle into your own eye or go and see UB40? I would be down the bottle bank with a hammer before you could speak.
Terribly nice blokes, though.
Oh, maybe, but...
Alice...
Why, if they're that nice,
no
why do they
excuse.
inflict their reggae-like dirge on the world?
Thank you.
Alice Cooper's playing. I'd go and see Alice.
I'd go and see Alice Cooper.
Status Quo are playing.
Indifferent.
Although Rick... No, there's a motoring connection there, because Rick Parfitt, his son, Rick Parfitt Jr., is a bit of a racing driver, and I've raced against him, and he's a brilliant bloke. And Squeeze are playing, who are always worth seeing.
Yeah.
And Midjaw is also on at some point.
Oh, this means nothing to me.
Oh! And Paul Young, who still owes me a £5.
Now is your time to collect.
I love it when you tell anecdotes from your time as the popular character Gaz Top. Does Paul Young really owe you a £5?
Yes, he does, yeah.
No way.
I counted him remembering.
I subbed him a £5 in the venue in Victoria in 1981 when he was a bit brassic.
That's super. Is it true he's got no bone in his nose, so he can push his entire nose really flat?
I've never seen him do that.
It could be made up.
But I'm not saying anything.
I knew what you were thinking, though.
You've got Blondie.
Yes. Oh, yes.
You got Deep Purple.
Ooh. Not a rocker, but
Well, basically, what's going to happen is you're going to sit through a load of songs you don't know, and then they're going to go off, and you're going to go, oh, I hope they come on and do an encore, and they do Smoke on the Water, and then they will.
Yeah.
You've got Chicago. You've got Jules Holland featuring Mark Almond.
That could be good.
Inexplicable.
Mark Almond.
Meatloaf with special guest Arno Carstens. Together? Who?
No idea.
You've got Squeezer playing, I think, as well. But my favourite night is the 80s night. There's the Here and Now 80s tour featuring Bananarama, Belinda Carlisle, Kid Creole and the Coconuts, who are fantastic live, by the way. Oh, unbelievable.
When I said 4 for Belinda Carlisle there, it was a 4 from 1985. Or maybe even earlier, actually.
Yeah,
it was a Go-Go's 4.
When she was in the Go-Go's.
Yes.
You get that Go-Go's, what a band.
Are the Bangles playing?
No.
You can't compare the Bangles to the Go-Go's.
No, I just suddenly thought of other fit pop stars from the 80s, and I thought of Susanna Hoffs for some reason. But
okay, slightly. But
if you just tuned into Gareth Jones on Speed, we're talking about girl pop stars from the 80s that we fancied.
Can I just say I interviewed the Bangles once?
Did you? No way!
Well, 80s Gaz Top did, I can tell you that much, yeah. And
Susanna... alter ego.
I'm really sorry, but Susanna Hoffs, she is the Suzu Rhodius of the band in the flesh. She's a bit hirsute, I have to say. Disappointing, I know.
Can I just put it to you that of all the bands who have ever released greatest hits albums, the Bangles are the band who have released more... who have the highest ratio of greatest hits albums to actual hits. They've released more greatest hits albums than they've actually had hit records.
Great factoid. Zoggy, it's good you're here. Toya, who I believe if she can't turn up, my Mrs. Violet Berlin's going to do the list for her.
What was that thing she used to do on the telly, the adverts? Where she'd go, come on, girls, roll on the mum. I couldn't listen to it. It was just like there was a hiss on the mic, and then you realised it was her teeth.
Can I just say, this is the furthest we've ever gone off topic from Carl's and Gareth Jones on Speed. These are all reasonably good bands, I have to say.
No, hang on a minute. No. Well, for a start, UB40 are not a reasonably good band. I would go so far as to say, have you got the Bleak Machine? They're a reasonably band. But what troubles me more is the fact that it's like, London Motor Show, come and see the cutting edge of the car industry, I'm presuming, and then they're saying, and stay around for the evening and see some bands from 25 years ago.
Laker Airlines and Sinclair Home Computers invite you to the 2008 London Motor Show for the full spectrum of cars. See exciting models such as the Ford Sierra, the Vauxhall Nova, and the stunning new Jaguar XJ220. Plus, meet top Formula One driver Rennie Arnoux and TV's Pat Sharp. Or why not stop off for a refreshing glass of Quattro at our soft drinks bar? The 2008 London Motor Show, sponsored by Filofax and Jenkins, makers of the finest red braces in the world.
So don't be surprised if you turn up at the British Grand Prix this year and Gaz Top's there, completing the 80s hat-trick, I think.
No, British Motor Show.
What did I say, Grand Prix again?
You're still doing it.
Do you know the difference between a motor show and a Grand Prix?
No. Do you want to come back to my paddock? There's a gag in there, isn't there? It's a kit form gag. Now, talking about music and 80s, if you really want an 80s music car crossover, there's one album that Zog, Richard and I have been listening to incessantly for the last probably 3 months.
Yes.
And it's called Stainless Style, and it's by a band called Neon Neon. Zog, go on, Richard's talk for 20 minutes. Can you sum up the Neon Neon album in one of your succinct 24-minute sentences?
It's a tribute to the DeLorean, is the starting point. It's in a kind of 80s retro style, produced by Boom Bip, the DJ, and Gruff Rhys.
Gruff Rhys. I'll say it. You have to say it in a North Walian accent. Gruff Rhys, who's the lead singer in the Super Furry Animals.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's almost an absolutely fantastic, awesome, brilliant album. My slight reservation about it is that the couple of numbers that have the rapping on them, if you listen to them back to back with, for example, Flight of the Conchords, they just sound a bit too tongue in cheek. And the songs, basically the more kind of retro 80s songs,
I agree,
are just fantastic.
Yeah.
With the rapping on it, brings it a bit more up to date, doesn't it?
Well, there's one of them which is undeniably
Raquel
a crunk track now, which is terribly modern. But it doesn't
quite hit the spot.
Yeah,
it's good, but it's just that, yes, when they just go all out. The thing is, you probably listen to this and you're thinking, that sounds awful. It's basically a concept album about DeLorean, and it's all 80s.
And it's all retro pop.
There is no way to describe this album and make it sound as good as it actually is, which is, in truth, fantastic.
Yeah.
And if you're a car nut like us and you kind of like 80s music like we do, it ticks all the boxes, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. My favourites on there, I think Raquel is a superb track.
Yeah.
Stainless Style, the title track.
Yes.
And what about the, what's that last one? The last track where he sings about all the people who rise against DeLorean. Oh, it just makes your heart break. And I've never felt that way about John DeLorean before. But having listened to this album, I do.
And Belfast as well. There's a track called Belfast, which is a really beautiful song about him setting up a car factory in Belfast. I think the important thing is, you're expecting it's going to be like 10 tracks about the DeLorean, and how many times can you rhyme gull-wing doors with something? But it's not. The starting point, I read an interview with
Griff Rhys.
Very
good.
And was that all right?
Yeah.
My dad will be so proud of me. Him being slightly North Wheelian. And
Does your dad have a speech impediment?
yes, phlegms everywhere. The starting point, according to Griff in this interview, was that it was looking at John DeLorean as the prototype playboy. Because he was. He used to...
Yeah.
He may have been a car industry executive, and usually, they're men in grey suits and they talk about performance, just like economic performance and stuff like that, and brand values and stuff like that. John DeLorean broke free of that. He used to hang around in Hollywood, and the song Raquel on the album is about... allegedly, he dated Raquel Welch.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. That's the thing. There's a great song about... He also had a chin implant to make himself look more rugged, like a cowboy.
Get out of here.
Yeah, seriously. And that is what the song is. A song called Michael Douglas, and the chorus line goes, I can see my reflection in Michael Douglas's mirrored sunglasses. Again, I'm not making this sound brilliant, but it is. It genuinely is brilliant. And at its best as well, it's all those 80s analogue synths, so it's all kind of dum-dum-dum-dum-dum, which it's like Vince Clarke from Erasure's gone mad in the Moog shop and made this
It's got a bit of Human League about
it.
it.
It's great retro synth sounds allied to just great classic songwriting.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's the thing, because people always say, and it annoys the hell out of me when people say that electronic music it can't be as soulful and as meaningful as stuff with guitars. And I love guitar music as well, but the thing is that because I think partly because Griff has got this terrific voice, slightly plaintive voice at times.
Oh, yeah.
And this album has real soul to it in a sort of way that it's actually poignant. I think it's poignant at times.
And it's about time we had a concept album. The last decent concept album
it is
was War of the Worlds by Jeff Wayne, I think. But anyway, the reason we mention this is it's about cars. If you like cars, you like 80s music, you will like this album. And go and see Neon Neon. They're at the Wireless Festival in London on July the 6th, which is the same day as the British Grand Prix. I'm going to see if we can get back in time for that one. I would love to be able to play you out on a piece of music from the Neon Neon album, but we can't do that because on the podcast you can't play other people's music. So instead, the Gareth Jones on Speed team, well, me and my drum machine, has replicated...
We don't hear enough from the drum machine when we're discussing cars, do we?
It's coming. We should be playing it.
We will be hearing more soon.
Yeah.
I'd love that. Some hand claps.
Here's a song. It's not Neon Neon. It's our interpretation. This is Argon Argon, which is the next inert gas in the scale of things, I think. And the song from the album, not Stainless Style, about the DeLorean, from the album Fibre Class. Yeah, because it's about the Gilburn. Because the only thing that bugs me about the Neon Neon album is, why is a Welshman singing about an American building a car in Northern Ireland? A Welshman should be singing about building a Welsh car in Wales. So here's a song about Gilburn. It's called A Car for Wales. Say goodbye, fellas.
Goodbye.
I didn't doubt for a minute that you were sincere, that you would build a car in Wales by the end of the year. I got my hopes up high, and so did my friend Di, that you could build a car in Wales. But somehow the plans went right off the rails. British Jacks. The engine was English, built by Coventry Climax.
Yes, it was.
The genie was cool, and so was the invader. In black it looked a little like Sith Lord Darth Vader. It was ahead of its time, a bit like me. So production ended way back in 73.
Yes, it did.
Wish I got a car,
I want to drive a Welsh car. This is a policy I'm sticking to.
We'll stick you out on news.
I want a red car, like a dragon. A Welsh car.
Car
A car from Wales. Yeah.
Car
A car from Wales.
Car
Write to the show on speed at garethjones.tv. You can read more info at www.garethjones.tv or subscribe for free at the iTunes store. Gareth Jones on Speed is made by Whizbang.